Hello and welcome to Cupcake Addiction's Christmas Wreath Pull-Apart Cupcake Cake tutorial, where I'll be showing you how to make a great full-size Christmas wreath cake that actually pulls apart into individual cupcake-sized portions. Tools and equipment that we will be using today. I'm using 24 cupcakes. I'm using a mixture of red velvet. We have a great recipe on our channel if you're looking for a good red velvet cupcake recipe. And I'm also using just some vanilla cupcakes. I've got a 16-inch wooden board, a cake board, that I've iced with some red fondant. So we've also got a tutorial on how to ice a board for great presentation. I've just lined that with a little bit of Christmassy gold ribbon. I've pre-made a fondant bow. Once again, I have a tutorial on my channel on how to make those fondant bows. I would suggest if you would like to do one of these bows, you should do it a day or two in advance. You can see there I've just made mine about 5 minutes ago, so it's still got its little tissues or bits of cotton wool in there as it dries. We'll still use it for this tutorial, but ideally I would have liked to have had that set for a day or two before I pop it on this cake. I've got some choc orange balls, or Jaffas we call them in Australia. If you can't find Jaffas or choc orange balls where you are, you can use red crispy M&Ms, red peanut M&Ms, red regular M&Ms, or you can roll small balls of red fondant or modelling chocolate. I've got some spearmint leaf candies. If you don't have spearmint leaf candies, you can cut some holly leaves out of green fondant or green modelling chocolate. I've got some of our perfectly pipeable buttercream frosting, and I've coloured that just a nice Christmassy green colour. We've got a recipe for that frosting on our channel if you'd like to have a look. And I've got a piping bag which I've pre-filled with that green frosting. I'm using that today in conjunction with the Loyal No. 9 piping nozzle, also known as a thermo nozzle. They're the large plastic piping nozzles. I would normally use a slightly larger star. This one here is just a little bit narrower because I want to go for more of like a rustic leafy effect. So you can see there I've got that frosting just popping out the end of that lovely star-shaped nozzle, and I'll leave all this information in the comments section of this tutorial. As I mentioned, I'm using 24 cupcakes today, so I've lined up my first, I think there's about 14 or so there, or 15, and I'm going to take the remaining ones. Now I've just positioned these, I haven't stuck them to the board or anything like that, they are just sitting on the board. So the frosting is going to act like the glue that holds them all together, and I've really just worked them around until I'm happy that they're giving me a nice circle shape. They're all evenly placed in there. And then I'm going to do a second layer of cupcakes on the inside. So it's a nice thick holly. Sorry, a nice thick wreath. There we go. So we're just positioning those. Once they're in there, you just want to move them around so that they're as close to that outside row as possible without too many big gaps in the middle. Lovely. Alright, so from here we're going to take that piping bag and I'm just going to do, I guess, the equivalent to our low swirl frosting style. So we would normally do this with a non-star shaped nozzle, but I'm just going to start in the centre of the cupcake and squeezing, coming out to the edge. You don't want to take this frosting too high, and you want to take it right out over the edge of that patty pan. Just go around the cake, or the cupcakes, and we want to frost all of those up. See here how when I'm frosting, I'm actually joining up each cupcake with the frosting. So you're going quite a way over the patty pan or the cupcake case. Coming into the second layer. And once again, we want to join up with that frosting. So you should have something that looks like this. Now to fix up any of those little holes and gaps, I'm just going to take that frosting and just pipe in some little frosting gap fillers, I suppose. Now if they're quite large gaps, make sure that you're taking that frosting all the way down to the cake board and not just filling the gap on top. So I'm actually letting the frosting sit on the cake board and then building it up to fill in that gap. That's going to give us a nice full-sized cake look, and it's going to make sure that we don't lose any of those gap fillers. If we just put it on the top, it'll just fall straight through if the weather gets a bit warm or once it starts to settle a little bit. Alright, so now it's time to make our little holly details. So we're going to take those red balls, and you can just position these wherever you like, but I just thought it would be nice to do some little decoration-y type holly looking things on there. Just some of those spearmint leaves. Probably would look a little bit nicer if you did have the holly leaves cut out of fondant, but not everybody has fondant cutters and holly leaf cutters and all that sort of stuff sitting at home. So this is a great cupcake pull apart wreath cake for people if they just want to, or if you guys just want to go to your local store and pick up things that you can find in the confectionery aisle. If you love our tutorials, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. We upload 3 times a week and we've always got great new tutorials coming out. We also love to hear your feedback, so if you're enjoying our tutorials, please let us know, and if there's something you'd like to see, certainly request it, and if we can make it for you, we will. Alright, now the final touch on this cake for me, and you don't have to do this, this is a total optional extra. You can just keep going with your hollies around the bottom, but I think it looks really nice just popping this lovely big bow. Now, as I mentioned, I would have preferred to have made that a couple of days in advance and had it set, but I think you'll agree that's going to be a lovely talking point at your Christmas table and fantastically easy for the kids and the big kids to just grab a piece, wander off and eat and enjoy. Thanks very much for watching.